What's this? I don't know why I'm recording. I'm not even ready. I think we're ready to go. Block that stuff right out of the frame. So a little while back, Fujifilm Canada contacted me and they asked me if I wanted to check out their X-T100. And I thought, well, that's an entry-level camera. And then I thought, sure, why not? Let's get undone. I'm just kidding, that little "Let's Get Undone," that's a tagline of Gerald Undone. He's another fellow Canadian YouTuber who I enjoy watching. He's really detailed, really technical, really good at what he does. His channel's linked below, you should check him out. My name is Paul, I'm from Toronto, Canada. I'm a cinematographer and I own a small video production company. And we do reviews and tutorials on this channel. So if that's something you're into, maybe subscribe. Yeah, maybe do that. Today we are in Toronto shooting Jacked Up Coffee. I'm here with the new X-T100. We're putting it through its paces to see what it can do when we're shooting a promo for Instagram. A couple months ago, Fujifilm Canada contacted me and they asked me if I'd like to check out the X-T100. And I thought, you know what? I'm not gonna fall into the gear trap. I'm gonna use whatever gear I have and I'm gonna make it work. This opportunity came at a time when I did have a video shoot scheduled and I wanted to use this camera for that shoot regardless of the limitations I thought that it might have. What I was hoping to show in this thesis disguised as a review was that it doesn't really matter what gear you're using. It comes down to the effort you put into it, how well you know your gear, and really your creativity. So I'm hoping to make the point that you can create amazing looking content regardless of the gear you have. So this is not a sponsored video, I'm not being paid for this review. I've actually owned an X100T, which sounds the same kind of, but it's different. It's more of a point and shoot style camera because it's a fixed lens with 35 equivalent lens focal range. Man, I took some of the greatest photos on vacation with that camera. So maybe I am a little bit biased because I've had that great experience with Fuji in the past. Also, this is an entry-level camera. So with that being said, I'm going to mention some limitations later on, and those limitations might not be a big deal for someone who's in the market for an entry-level camera or is an entry-level shooter themselves. So I'm going to go through and give you a little background about how this is going to go down today, because it might be a little bit different than your typical review. I'm going to just tell you my experience as it related to this shoot that I did and how I feel it went and what I got out of it. Now that's going to allow me to tell you the strengths and where I think it fell short based on my experience. Depending on what you're going to use this for or your level, it's definitely going to vary, but hopefully this will give you a jumping off point to make a decision if this camera might be the right one for you. So let's first talk about what I thought its strong points were. It is definitely a fun camera for anybody, a beginner, intermediate, advanced. It's fun to take photos with. Video does have its limitations we'll get into later, but photo quality and the performance, the whole construction of the camera and the tactile feel of the dials and the accessibility of the way it's set up, it really makes it fun to shoot photos with that camera. And the size and the portability of the camera really make it easy to keep with you all the time, and so you're not really going to miss any shots because you want to have the camera on you all the time. The image quality is fantastic. The colors and the sharpness of the lenses and the lens selection and the dynamic range that you can push and pull in a raw photo. It's a great portrait camera. It's a great landscape camera. The color reproduction is very pleasing, and then that combined with the Fujifilm stock emulators, you can just kick it down to JPEG and you'll get a great picture either way. Definitely one of its strong points is the image quality. Now for video, it has 1080p at 24 frames. It has 1080p at 60 frames. So I really appreciate having that slow motion. It's just more options, more variety for whatever you want to create. Something I noticed though, when I was shooting in vertical mode and I brought that footage into Final Cut, it actually displayed it as a vertical film. Whereas most other cameras that I've used, if I tilt the camera, the video's landscape, but it's just tilted and I have to actually bring it upright. To be able to scrub through all the clips, it's actually a little bit of a time saver. So it just makes the whole workflow a lot easier when you have that option. Fujifilm has great menus, and I've noticed that in my friend's X-T20, in this X-T100, and as well as the X100T. All the menus are really nicely laid out. So it actually has a flip out screen and a tiltable screen. It's not like fully articulating, it doesn't get every angle, but it's perfect for selfie mode. It tilts up and down for high and low angles, so it pretty much does all the movements you want. And it's great. It was a really easy to view screen. I had no problems viewing it outdoors. I'm gonna show you the final video that we ended up using for Jacked Up Coffee and their Instagram stories. They're really happy with it. I was happy with it, and here's how it turned out. And let me know what you think.
Here we are at Jacked Up Coffee. You've got to come down, enjoy the sun, and get great coffee.
Okay, moving on to the things that I experienced that I thought could have been improved. So one thing I noticed after bringing the footage in and really checking it out while I was putting it together was that the video quality is not the highest pinnacle, video quality out there. If you need something like that, this is not the camera. But again, we have to remember it is an entry-level camera. Keep that in mind depending on your use and what you need it for. And they also say that this camera does 4K video, and it does. It just does it at 15 frames a second. So for my needs and for my uses, I wasn't going to use that. I really don't know what you would use it for. There is an audio jack, which is great. It's 2.5 millimeters, which is not the standard 3.5 millimeters that a typical Rode shotgun mic would go into, but it's not impossible to adapt. You can buy a fairly inexpensive adapter. Something I found a little bit finicky that I wasn't used to was that if you're gonna shoot manual mode for video, you have to set the ISO in the menu system. Like, I mean deep in the video menu system before you start shooting, which is a little bit strange. I'm not used to that. One thing that really stood out to me was I was trying to get this shot of Mo crossing the street. I knew where I wanted him to be positioned. I had the frame set up, and I tried to shoot this, and I shot this scene like honestly like 10 or 12 times. God bless his soul for like walking across the street that many times. The camera had such a hard time focusing on him, and I told him to slow down. Like I was like, walk slow, and the camera still had a little bit of an issue. I only got like 1 or 2 usable shots, and they weren't really in the composition I wanted. But I did mention this to Fujifilm, and they connected me with their technical marketing specialist. I think the general conclusion was that it really comes down to the lenses I was using. I never tried this with the kit lens that I see most of the reviews on. These were two very specific lenses, primes, very shallow, and maybe a little bit older lenses that the autofocus system isn't what it would be in a lens that they just released more recently. So keep that in mind. This was just my experience. I have to be honest, that's what happened. But I mean, for portraits and for landscapes, generally I had no issues focusing. It was just in a moving subject. I tried all the focus modes. I tried eye autofocus, left eye, right eye, any eye, head, face, manual focus. I just had difficulty with all of them. The autofocus system is not for faster moving subjects, or apparently with that lens combo, it's not for any moving subjects. So keep that in mind. I also thought that the touchscreen was a little bit laggy. Fujifilm has this great feature where while you have the camera up to your eye, if you just use a portion of the touchscreen, you can move the focus spot around, and you can actually have control of it while you're shooting. But it was so laggy that it was more annoying to use than I thought that it actually was beneficial. So that could be a good feature. I just didn't find it all that smooth to use. Okay, so let's bring it full circle. Let's conclude. Who do I think this camera is for? There's a couple needs that this is going to satisfy. If you're a beginner or intermediate, if you value really high quality images, if you like pushing and pulling raw photos and grading them yourself, if you want a quick camera that just shoots JPEG and has really good image quality right out of the camera, if you like portraits, landscapes, if you like compact and portability with a well build, if you like that retro style, and if your budget is in the $599 US or $779 Canadian, then it's perfect. This is the camera for you. If your goal is video, that's like high quality video on a bigger screen, this is not going to be the camera for you. Video in this camera is more of a bonus. It's more of an extra side sort of media. It's great for Instagram. It is great that those clips come up vertically in the timeline. The quality is perfect for Instagram. It connects to your phone, so you can upload clips and video to your phone, process them on your phone, and then bam, out to Instagram. But like I said, landscape or still life or portraits, it's amazing. You're gonna get long-standing Fuji image reproduction that they're so known for. So I had a really great time using this camera. Thank you to Fujifilm Canada for sending this out to me. So if you're still looking for a camera, let me know what you think. If there's anything I missed, or if you do have this camera and you had a different experience with it, definitely let me know down below. If this is a camera you want me to review, let me know as well. Thanks for coming by and checking out this video. If this is the type of content you like, this is the stuff I shoot, so subscribe and we'll do more of this in the future. And I'll see you in the next one.